I just want to take a quick second to start by acknowledging some of the most important people here tonight that we could not have had this amazing night without their hard work and support through it all. So on behalf of Andrew, Marissa, and myself, let's hear it for our bartenders! Anyway, so I'm Marissa's little sister, and most of you probably think that we're twins. And then when we say no, we're actually 4 years apart. You then ask who's older. So she's 4 years older, and if you were surprised by her being in the white dress because you called me Marissa for 22 years, that's Marissa, I'm Carolyn. But she's always been an incredible role model to me, and I always wanted to do whatever she did. So when she played the violin, I had to also. When she danced, I had to dance too. And one time we did a pottery camp together, and she was sitting right next to me, and on the very first day, we had to introduce ourselves. So I go first, and I say, "Hi, I'm Marissa Patke," and I immediately panicked because I introduced myself as my sister, not as myself. And she must have hit me or something because I really quickly said, "No, wait, I'm Carolyn, that's Marissa, my sister." And then she had to go right after me, so sorry, because everyone already knew you. But I honestly think I was just helping or preparing to help them plan for their wedding, because for those of you who don't know, Marissa's not one to talk on the phone. So when I had to call a bunch of venues and florists for her, I would say, "Hi, I'm Marissa Patke, and I'm looking to gather some information for my wedding." And they would say, "That's so great. Who's your fiance? When's your wedding?" And I would say, "Oh, I'm marrying Andrew Patke. My wedding's on July 30th. And then I would just give them her phone number to call back. So I want to fill everybody in on the couple weeks leading up to their engagement. So Marissa was about to graduate from grad school, and COVID put a hinder on that. So she could only have 4 people at her graduation. So it was my parents, me, and Andrew. And we walk in, and I'm sitting next to Andrew, and then my mom and dad are on either side of us. And he just, as soon as we sat down, he was like, "I have to ask you guys something." And I knew what was happening, so I started sobbing. And I don't know what he said because I was crying so hard, but he asked to marry Marissa then. And he was like, "I think I'm gonna propose in a couple weeks." And we were like, "Oh my gosh, do you already have a ring?" And he was like, "No." And in typical Andrew fashion, he got the most beautiful ring in like 2 days. So I was so nervous and like excited but anxious leading up to the proposal. He was his usual self, chill, no worries in the world. And I was sending him diagrams of the piazza where he proposed with circles and arrows and highlights of, "This is the angle you need to stand at. This is where you need to drop down on one knee. Those are the bushes I'm gonna be hiding in to take your pictures." But it all worked beautifully, and it was a fantastic night. So going into today, you guys have had hundreds of people pouring so much love into you, and I wanted to showcase some of the most important people and why they love you guys so much, but it's not the bartenders this time. So I asked our nieces and nephews, "Why do you love Aunt Riss and Uncle Andrew?" But I tried to ask them what their advice was, but the word advice too advanced for this bunch, they didn't get it. So our 6-year-old nephew Bennett said, "I love them because they're getting married, and I'm grateful that they're getting married." Don't know where grateful came from, because he couldn't get advice, but he got it. Then our 4-year-old nephew Bryce said, "Just because they're so sweet, and when I tickle them, they laugh so much." And then our 4-year-old niece Veda, who's right over Marissa's shoulder there, she said, "Because they give me love, and they give me and Evie a lot of presents too." And then our 11-month-old niece Evie, who's over there at table 1, she loves you guys so much she had no words at all. She was completely speechless. So I invite everybody today to raise a glass to Marissa and Andrew. We love you guys so much.
Let's hear it for Carolyn.
Carolyn and Paul, fantastic speeches. They were good. They were good. So, hold on, let me collect my thoughts here. Hold on, holy cow. those who don't know, my name is Cordell, also known as Patke and Marissa's third wheel. I've held that title in sole possession for 7.5 years now, and I would be the first to tell you it is going nowhere. That's how it is with me. Marissa, I knew you were the one when one time we were getting Ted Drew's senior year. It was the three of us. Patke was driving, and you let me ride shotgun with him. Low standards? Maybe. But on to the groom. If any of you know Andrew Patke, he is annoyingly good at everything. Whether it's school, sports, video games, does not matter. And one time in high school, while we were in SLU High, my dad and I got in an argument, the classic father-son relationship, and my dad was harping on me about grades, how I wasn't studying enough, trying hard enough. He liked to use the word procrastinate to describe me. His favorite adjective of his. And in that argument, he said, "Why can't you be like Andrew?" You know, I talked to Joe, and he always talks about how he's in the basement, working really hard and studying, and because of that, getting good grades. And I looked at him, and I was like, that's just not true. He may be in the basement and might not leave much, but it's because he's playing FIFA 15 on Xbox 360 and beating me. So if he's doing that and still getting better grades, he's just smarter than me, and there's nothing I can do about it. And so, in all seriousness, thank you two so much for letting me be part of this day, part of the ride so far. Looking forward to a lifetime of it with you guys. Anna and I are going to sign the lease just down the block from them, Tower Grove South, so we'll still be seeing a lot of each other. And with that, let's please raise a glass and congratulate these couples, and let's have a hell of a night celebrating.
Well, let's hear it.